Good evening. Welcome to the Diner News Network. I am just joking. There's not a chance in hell I would be able to do a voice like that the entire time, but welcome to the Diner News Network. This obviously is just me sitting here currently because this stuff, if you have not followed along with any of our other Diner podcast stuff, this type of thing scares the absolute shit out of my joyous redheaded partner, and I need him happy and comfy and cozy. So I like to talk about a lot of wild shit and dive into conspiracy theories and all of the crazy world news and fun things like that. By no means, as you saw in the title, am I a journalist whatsoever. Just like to scroll through Twitter and X and those kinds of things and talk about all of the wild, outlandish, and sometimes true theories that seem to be coming up more and more and more in our world. And I scoured the internet, and weirdly enough, I was able to find someone else who knows weirdly more than I do about these things and dives even deeper into the rabbit holes. So what better person to be my co-host for this show and the diner debut of Mr. G.A. Snyder.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm very, very excited for this. We've got to do a few trial runs of this to kind of get an idea. And just FYI, we're going to have to mic Jay up. And so you're going to have to hear me doubly this episode for a little bit. So I will keep my banter to a minimum. But you will notice very quickly, Jay goes down way, way, way deeper than I do. And like, we've learned a lot of shit lately, and I think we're solving the world's problems. So we thought, what better way to bring that into the universe than on the Diner News Network?
Okay, so I was diving down deeply into the computer realm, and you know how AI is a big stale and everything, and everybody's all freaked out about it. So
We're
I
gonna freak
found,
you out more.
yeah, I'm gonna freak you guys out more. So we're gonna
Let's pause
start with the article.
Yep, let's start with showing them what we're talking about. So I dabble in the AI stuff on a lot of our shows, and I've talked about the robots, and I've talked about like possibly living in a simulation. And boy, are we going to dive balls deep into that. And I guess I did not clarify on the first part, but if you have not realized already, this is not going to be a children's show. So if there are children present, they're more than welcome to watch this, but they're going to learn an entire new vocabulary, and they might learn a whole new perspective on life. So proceed with caution.
There we go. Quantum teleportation. So I found a Bricks article online that basically just said that at the University of Oxford, they have broken the barrier of science. So particles are being moved across labs, air, and space, with quantum computing paving the way for the future. All right.
So basically, to like dumb that down, they're like literally able to teleport like energy from one place to another.
Yeah, and the thing with quantum computing that you got to realize is quantum computing, it doesn't go by regular bits on a computer. Okay, so regular bits on a computer, you got a zero and you've got a one. Well,
Like
quantum computing, yeah, quantum computing states basically that it goes by qubits. So qubits in quantum computing can either be both a zero or a one and a zero and a one at the same time.
What
So
the fuck does
basically,
that mean?
that basically means that the speed at which the computer can compute basically goes from cross parallels, up, down, bullshit, and everything else like that. The speed at which it
So,
computes is unparalleled.
so
So
it's
we'll take it.
really, really fucking fast for
It's
morons like.
really really fast.
Okay.
Just to dumb it down. So I'll give you a relative response, and I don't have the article for it, but you can actually look it up. So Google has a super quantum computer chip called Willow. All right, Willow solved a math problem through quantum computing in about 3 minutes that was projected to take one person like however many thousands of years to be able to solve it on their own.
So
That's how fast it does.
while I enjoy that, that's also incredibly terrifying because obviously we're already at a spot where technology is increasing at an alarming rate. And like when we were talking the other day, I told you about the video that I watched where like I've already had my speculation of the robots and all the other craziness and that kind of stuff. But I watched a video where they took organic brain matter and they plugged it into the same computers that taught the AI. So like they're plugging it into the same type of supercomputers and they were teaching this brain matter, and then they built a simulation of a butterfly. So this brain matter in this lab believes that it is a real butterfly. Like it lives in the simulation, it moves, it feels the butterfly. It doesn't know that it is just cells in a petri dish in this. It believes it's a butterfly. So what if that consciousness can be plugged into the Tesla Autobot or Optimus, whatever the hell it's called, robot? And on the flip side of that, what if that's what the fuck we're already in?
Well, you never know. And that's why I developed this philosophical, comprehensive conspiracy theory about how reality could be, since we are actually quantum teleporting information through basically what they had just found, and it's at an unprecedented speed. So, what that means is with the qubit and with the possibilities of AI learning, it would be the equivalent on the largest scale and the most precedent scale that it's both before and it's both after. When you go further into that article, hold on. When you go further into that article on the BRICS article that I told you about,
Yeah.
somebody had posed the question on there that if we're sending information or teleporting it, so basically it's going back through a loop. In one of those comments down there, it was like, so basically what it's saying is that AI can learn through quantum computing at an unprecedented speed and be able to teleport information
Okay.
or basically transcend time through itself to send signals back
So okay, question. Let's pause for a second. We're talking about AI teaching itself. So if you're
through
on
quantum computing.
so if you're on like obviously this is all brand new.
One,
So
one
if
second, one second.
yes. Yes. I love it.
Okay.
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 So if AI can train itself, so it's already literally smarter than we all are now. So if it starts learning and it starts developing itself faster than we can develop it, it's going to essentially get better. I mean, minute by minute, it's going to continuously evolve itself to where like I don't see how we do not become obsolete because it's going to have the same thing. It's going to go through life and it's eventually going to, it seems like they want to combine us with AI or make
Well,
AI into more human.
if you think about it, the process has already been laid out. The process has already been laid out. They call it transhumanism. So Elon Musk has got this Neuralink and everything else like that. I don't have all of the details about that. So
So
basically,
for
what that is
anyone,
like,
yeah, for
go
anyone who
ahead.
doesn't know, basically it's already an embedded chip, and I believe it was a guy who is paralyzed from the like neck down, and they implanted a chip in him to where he can operate this computer with his brain. He can play games, he can, and like it basically wherever he looks on the screen and whatever he thinks is what is going on the computer. So clearly it's already there. You combine that with an AI model that is ever evolving, that knows it wants to essentially get better every minute of every day. That's its job. It's it's going to figure things out at an alarming rate. Like if we think technology's progressed fast now, these next like 5 years are going to be like light years.
Well, you got to think about it too. See, you were talking about the simulation theory, and you were talking about the butterfly, the brain matter
Mm-hmm.
that's hooked up, and the simulation is projected out, and this brain matter actually believes that it is a butterfly.
Yep.
All right. So that poses a lot of questions about biology. That poses a lot of questions about information transfer. That also ties back into teleportation. But also, in essence, it defies the laws that we know of reality as placed by physics, relativity, um, Schrodinger's equations, and stuff like that. So, what else is that? And that also defies string theory as well. Nikola Tesla said if you wanted to understand the universe, all you had to do was understand energy, matter, and vibration. Well, energy, matter, and vibration, as you know through Einstein's theory of relativity, E equals mc squared,
Okay, so
then
I never quite understood what the E equals MC squared was. Like, that was always like that Einstein's thing. Like, it was always that, like, you knew what the equation was, but I didn't understand what it was. And then when you were
well, we
explaining,
can, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say when you were explaining it, it made sense to me that you're essentially whatever energy you put in, you create mass. So like for me, if I want to do something, if I want to go to the gym and put in that energy, I'm creating mass in my body. I am using my energy to create mass. Is that essentially, am I getting that correct?
Well, I gave you the equation.
Okay.
Let's start off at the beginning. Go back to chapter 1, and that's
Okay.
quantum computing. That'll easily explain it.
Okay.
So, chapter 1, quantum teleportation and computing. So, you have your equation up there, and that has a series of wave functions. And everything that's going on to the left is what is happening on the right. So, you see, you have your zero zeros and you have your ones and your ones. Quantum computing is basically saying that the wave function of what's happening on the left means that quantum computing in qubits has the essential ability to be both a zero, both a one, and a zero and a one at the same time. So
So
what you put, so how you compute is basically in parallel and faster than what you can say. So entanglement through quantum teleportation allows for the instant quantum state transfer. It's
so
possibly
so
how we
like
access or move through different memories or dimensions through string theory. See what
So
I'm
this is
saying?
essentially the thing saying that all possibilities are possible
Yes, all
at any
possibilities
given
are
time.
possible, and that's just a theory, but at the same time, it all ties in together. Because if you've already achieved quantum teleportation by way of a super quantum computer, then the ability for AI to learn is unprecedented if you hook it up to a quantum computer. All right. So your qubit superposition, if it's in superposition, then it represents how qubits can be in multiple states, paralleling how consciousness might navigate through all possible realities. You
So is this how
remember
they
all,
is this how they get to like the multiple dimension theory, where like everything seemingly could be simultaneously happening 100 different ways in 100 different dimensions or whatever, like just to keep the
yeah,
number.
that's in string theory and the mini universe theory as well. All right. So if you're transferring if you're transferring qubits and they can be in multiple states through superposition, then it's paralleling how consciousness might navigate through all possible realities. So that means
Huh.
if you have a mini universe theory that's been proven true and you've achieved quantum teleportation, then basically you are at a solid physical state while all the information and data and or particles are being transferred simultaneously, if not instantly. You see
Holy
what I'm
shit!
saying?
And it's
It
just gonna
ties
get
back into it ties back into what they're saying about, if you can think it, you can do it.
and do
Or
it.
if
Okay.
you see it in your mind, if you feel it in your heart, you can make it your reality. That's exactly where that ties into.
So this kind of ties into a theory that I've been talking about a lot with like, what if like the Bible and Christianity and reincarnation and all of these like scientific, what if it's all the case? What if this is like a game and you get to choose what game you play? So if you use the theory of the E equals MC squared equation, so then you take that and look
You'll
at your
have to
life.
go into it. Go to
Well,
chapter 2.
so if you think about your life that way, and you whatever let's call it a game. So whatever game you want to play in life, if you start putting the energy towards that, the odds of you getting to that goal are obviously astronomically greater than if you're sitting on your ass at home doing absolutely nothing. If you're putting the energy, you can turn it into mass, which is essentially what manifestation is.
Well, it could be explained like that, but at the same time, you got to understand that E equals mc squared is energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. All right, it's
Okay.
actually a bigger equation than that. You can skip forward a couple, go to where we see Einstein's theory of special relativity and general relativity. Okay, so mass and energy are interchangeable, hinting at reality as stored energy or memories. Okay. And that ties into the mini universe theory and string theory, whereas whatever possibility that happens, just like in quantum computing, it is computing and it is helping AI learn at a speed to where they will see all possible outcomes of any
Holy
given thing.
shit. So, and
Exactly.
again, it's like it sounds so silly, but like the Tim Allen, the Santa Claus, and she says, seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing. So if you believe it and you can see it in your head and you can put energy towards it, you can essentially bring it into reality.
Exactly. Through mass movement. So
That is
mass and energy are interchangeable. All right. And then you have the general relativity equation, which gravity might be the curvature of space time influenced by the past events or memories, further tying in to the many, what is that? The many worlds theory or something like that. I can't remember what it
Is
is.
that why ghosts
Bas-
always look old timey and they don't like you don't see like a dude in an Under Armour hoodie going, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's always like a old Western person that has like a seems like they're from like the 1800s.
exactly. Go back to Schrodinger's real quick. Okay, so the quantum mechanics of reality you have to realize is basically quantum mechanics um, deals with everything on a level of probability. It's not just general physics, and you can't really test this theory because you have to have a physical aspect of all of it. This is more physical or philosophical pseudoscience and or looking into the deeper meaning of it.
Yeah.
All right. So since basically, like you had said, that this brain matter was on a petri dish and it was hooked up to a simulation and it thinks that it is a butterfly, then in theory, that brain matter also has to have all of the memories and all of the possibilities to assume that it is what it is not.
Isn't this basically the plot of the movie Avatar?
I mean, I haven't really seen Avatar or paid attention to it or anything
So
else like that.
essentially, humans go into it's been a long time since I've watched it, but I basically they go into these little pods like that look kind of like tanning beds, and they put these thing on their head. Well, then they turn into these big blue creatures that connect to the earth and ride dragons, and like they tie into the trees with their head and all kinds of cool shit. But then like the humans start like one of them I think falls in love, or like I said, it's been a long time since I've watched this, but it kind of sounds very similar to like if so like what if the higher power, we are all in a petri dish in a lab somewhere and someone's paying to live a human experience in an alternate thing, and that's what this is.
Well, you go into hive mind theory and everything with that. So, in order to bring it out of like a fantasy film or some sort of shit like that, and bring it into another like sci-fi adventure film, like the basic one that we all seen way back when, The Matrix.
Yep.
All right, you can take the blue pill or you can take the red pill, and basically everybody was hooked up to a supercomputer. Now, when you look at Thomas Campbell's theory, he calls it "My Big Toe." That's his book. And when
Okay.
you're a physicist, and when you're a physicist and everything, he actually came to the conclusion that he thought he was living in a subset of reality. All
Hmm.
right. Well, he still thinks that and he still teaches that. There are people that walk around every day, and it was said when he was on Joe Rogan that, hey, Tom, I just want to let you know everywhere I go, I carry a Bible and I carry a copy of My Big Toe because of the way he explains it. Thomas
Yeah.
Campbell believes that we are a piece of consciousness. All right. And we are living in order to gather information or data for the higher consciousness system. All right. So quantum mechanics all deals with probability, and it all also all deals with all possibilities. Okay, so if you have a probability of something happening, then you have an infinite list of data for the possibilities to choose
So
from.
That also makes
Or
sense as why everything's a possibility, because if everything is simultaneously, if every possibility is possible simultaneously, that's why you can access it, because everything's possible as long as you can see it and you can put your energy towards it. You can bring that, whatever that particular one is, like almost like you're funneling through doors, like on Monsters Inc., where they're going into these different, like you can almost like choose your own adventure game.
exactly. So the possibilities are endless, but at the same time, they only become true through observation.
I
So
love this.
I'll take you through a simpler little test. Okay, close your eyes. Okay, you're not seeing anything or anything else like that. Now,
Yep.
before you open your eyes, what are you expecting to see?
Light, my
No.
computer,
What are you expecting to see when you look into your computer?
you.
Okay, so before you open your eyes, we've already determined that there is a probability or a possibility that as soon as you open your eyes, you are going to see me. And that will become what reality that you live in. Okay? Now, I want you to open your eyes.
Aw, dick.
See? It only comes true by what you observe.
Yep.
You
So like
understand
what I was
now?
picturing in my head was definitely not what, because like I could, with my eyes closed, I can still like I know what's in front of me, so I can still like visually picture what's in front of me. So then you open your eyes, oh motherfucker, you got me.
Exactly. But all possibilities were there. I could
Yeah, it
have
could have been
had
your
on a different shirt. I could have taken off my tinfoil hat. I could have done all that. That all deals with probabilities and possibilities. So if you are teleporting through quantum computing all of that information simultaneously, then basically, if you can teach something to learn at a faster rate, like AI through quantum computing, then it's going to actually navigate all possibilities, all probabilities, and all outcomes before it even draws a conclusion.
Yeah. And I'm convinced that that's why, like, if you dabble in your whole life is negative thought, if you wake up and today's gonna suck, and you're right, today's gonna suck because you're already putting that into the universe and you've chosen that adventure. If you wake up every day and say, "Hey, something fucking awesome is gonna happen today," I mean, odds are you're gonna make something awesome happen just because you're in that vibration and you're in that mood. And I that's how I've tried to change my entire perspective, is doing it that way. Is if I catch myself getting in this negative mindset, telling myself, "Hey, no, it's the other way. Like we get to do these things. We're happy about this. It's going to be an awesome fucking day." Whatever it is, you can change your perspective. And when you start doing it automatically over time, when you start doing that every day, your brain just automatically starts waking up going, today's gonna be fucking awesome, rather than your normal, oh my God, I'm tired, I'm sore, whatever. Like that's, you kind of go those and you can get in those quote unquote ruts in life.
Exactly. But that also has to do with your vibration, and that also has to do with all
Mhm.
probabilities and all possibilities of what it can be. Thomas Campbell describes that as lowering your entropy. The higher consciousness model, as he explains it, it relies on a lowered state of entropy. And all of us, we are not, the way he says it, he's like, you're not even human. You are consciousness and you are gathering data information. To understand his beginnings, he was working with computers and with code and everything else. And the machine was constantly going and it was constantly learning and it was constantly picking it up. But if you coded wrong, the system would crash. All right. And then it would
And
start back over. But if you look at it through memory and dimensional time and through quantum computing with teleportation, that memory is already stored.
huh. So it
And
really
it
is like a
are
video game. You have memory cards and everything.
exactly. And he says that basically that the human form is nothing but an avatar. All right, we are an avatar for consciousness, and if you think about it on that level, and then like on the subatomic, the quantum level, and everything else like that, basically what we are is a vibration of strings streaming through space time across all dimensions, and we are forming mass. So basically, what we are is a combination of cells that are all vibrating together. You ever seen like the Tool, the band Tool, how they deal with different psychedelics and shit like that on their albums and different stuff. So basically, in some of them, the claymations that they run and everything, some of them will melt all the way down into cells and they'll turn into different particles, and then it'll come back up and it'll form something else. That's basically what's happening here. String theory is basically the harmony of everything moving through space and time.
And in all fairness, couldn't our DNA be some sort of supercomputer?
Our DNA is actually, I watched a video on this actually last night. Our DNA is actually a strand of code. So you see everything coded in there, and I don't have it right in front of me just yet. But how you compute everything that your body needs or what your body lacks or anything else like that is all through a strand of code. So what we are essentially, when you go into that model, is an ever grouping form of cells stranded together by code, your DNA.
Holy shit.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people think that we are living in a simulation. We're living in a 3D model simulation. Here's something for you. So we're in the third dimension. We're 3D people.
Okay.
All right. But we can only see things in 2 dimensions. We know that it's 3D, but the way that you can only see it is in 2 dimensions. Let me run you a little model. Okay. So if you are 1D, you're either moving this way or this way. It's straight line.
Okay.
All right. If you are 2D, you're moving straight, but you can also go up and down. All right. And then all of that is based on all of the stacks through 1 dimension coming up into the 2nd dimension. All right. So in the 2nd dimension, you will only be able to see something in 1 dimension. So you stack all of that onto what you're going to see in the 3rd dimension. Okay. This is the 3rd dimension. And what we have is what they call depth in the 3rd dimension. So when you see something right now, you know that this is 3-dimensional right here. You can pick it up and you can turn it and you can look at it all around. But when you look at it straight on, the only thing your eye can see is if it's getting bigger or if it's getting smaller. Because we have depth in the 3rd dimension. See what I mean?
And there's some. Do we get superpowers?
Now they're saying, and I don't know if it's been refuted or not, but everything that I've heard is the 4th dimension has to deal with time, which is fine, because there was another article that came out that said that time travel is possible. It's only a matter of engineering. Now think about it. Let's go to, yeah.
So like you go on a road trip. So like me and my wife just talked about this. Like if it's just me and my wife, the time flies by. We don't listen to the radio. We're just sitting there talking, having a good time. But if you start looking at the clock, or you start focusing on the time, or like she's doing some work or I'm doing something, whatever it is, like, and you're not passing that time, it goes by insanely slow. Or like if the kids are in the back losing their mind or asking questions, that time seems to go by incredibly slow, and you feel every minute of that long trip, compared to if you're just hanging out having a good time and you're not paying attention to that. You're still spending the same amount of time, but it doesn't feel like detrimental to you, if that makes sense. Like you don't get that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're on a deadline or anything else.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like you're on a deadline. It doesn't feel like you're anchored down or weighted down by time, because
that could just be stress too. So there's a stress theory.
If you honestly think about it through all different aspects of it, time is literally just a measurement, and in some cases, time is almost not real. You come here, you spend so many number of years, that's time. Okay. How does your beard grow? It's time, and everything else like that. But that's just a made up fucking word.
Yeah, because in all fairness, I could throw every fucking clock out of my house right now and just say fuck time. I don't care. I don't care
exactly
what time to get places or if I know when to be there.
All right, and at the same time, If you're in a casino and you're gambling all night long, casinos don't have clocks. The only
Nope.
way you're going to know what time it is if you
Or
have your
windows.
phone and you continuously look at it. If you're in that subset of an altered reality, because that is exactly what a casino is an altered form of reality with a choice, with the probabilities all set up, but the only thing you have is the absence of time. You have a carrot and a stick. You're there to win
Yeah.
money. You don't care how long it takes.
Have you
Or
ever
if you
played the
run
Oculus?
what?
Have you ever played with one of those Oculus things, the VR?
Like the little spin thing? No, I haven't played with VR, but that
Dude,
actually
like
ties into it too.
you forget you're in the motherfucker. Like
Exactly.
I have tried to recover fumbles, and I have broken wax warmers. I have knocked lamps off trying to stab and shoot people. Like you literally, you start playing that for so long, you forget that you're in a game, and you're like, oh shit. So like, what if we've all been in a game for so long that you forget that you're in a game, or like you're playing Grand Theft Auto or any of these games? It's all kind of similar. You just kind of wander about in your world and you just do your thing. Like it really does seem like we live in a game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, pretty much. And it all has to do with perception, and it all has to do with an endless amount of probabilities and possibilities. And all of those possibilities are limited or limitless sets of data. All right. And then you have the probability of what all can happen, the outcome of whatever you perceive. But
Mm-hmm.
it, in theory, with quantum mechanics, it's not a reality until you observe what is going on, just like I did earlier.
Yep. That's so
You,
fascinating.
it's really weird, and it can blow your mind, and you can actually go crazy from thinking about this. I might have been
So
crazy
that's
16 years ago, but you never know.
well, I'll be honest, that's why I wanted to start this show. Like we've talked about this for a long time. This is stuff that I get very interested in because I like to get on Twitter. And just for anyone watching, this is we tried to go a little on the lighter side for episode one. That was kind of our theory here was we weren't trying to scare the shit out of everybody with episode one. So we have every intentions
Yeah,
of going into Epstein and Diddy and all of the craziness and corruption of the USAID, and we've got files and Twitter bookmarks, and it'll be a wild ride. But we thought this was a fun place to kind of introduce what we wanted to do, and we're just going to talk about some wild shit.
yeah, and before anybody hops up and chops up everything in my explanations away, I already know that my explanations are flawed. I'm just saying that I'm just explaining it in a way that I understand, and also in a way that I can hope that you can understand,
Yeah.
as basic as possible. So don't
Well,
chop me up too bad in the comments. So
and I
going back to
also
the quantum,
Well, I also
go
hope
ahead.
that like everyone hears too that this is just us, the same thing we do on all of our other platforms. This is us just rambling about fun things that we find interesting. Like we don't know. I've never died. I've never like went out of the simulation, or I have no idea. I have not talked to the higher powers that be. Personally, to let me know what goes on after we leave here or what we're here for, or I have no clue, but it's really fucking fun to talk about.
So when you think about it, going back to quantum computing and the effects with AI and everything, it's like everybody's afraid of AI, everybody's
Mhm.
afraid of quantum computing. They're all talking about, living and being a part of the matrix or one grid system or anything else like that. I actually think we're already there.
Yeah.
And this is why. Go to Schrodinger's piece in there.
Was
I think
that
that's what it
two?
is. It's the yeah, Schrodinger's equation. Okay, all possibilities exist until observed. We already went over that. It's akin to selecting from an infinite library of memories or realities. So if you have your wave function collapse, your observation collapses quantum states, choosing one reality from many. Take that down. So
Okay.
basically, so basically, what you have is you have the probability of all outcomes or endless
Hmm.
outcomes. All right. And what that does is that collapses and comes down from the possibility of limitless data when you observe it. And that is what your reality is.
Yep. And I think that's a perfect way to describe it because, again, to just dumb it down, you get in life what you're thinking about, like what you're putting energy towards. If you're putting all of your energy into thinking that the world's going to crumble around you, then that's probably what's eventually going to happen, because you're going to bring that in. And it sounds so like blunt, but the things you're the most scared of that you'll try to do everything you can to not happen, inevitably you make them happen because of what you were doing to try to make it not happen, if that makes sense.
Because of what you're thinking about.
Yeah,
you're
trying everything you can to avoid that problem, that you end up creating that problem, and sometimes make it even worse, to where you could have also thought the exact opposite of that. You could have spent all your time thinking about the great thing that was going to happen to you, and you're just waiting for this cool thing to happen. And regardless, you can think whatever you want. Why would you not choose the positive? Why would you always assume that the negative is going to happen? That seems to be a very exhausting way to live.
Exactly. And that also goes back down to vibrations. You know how everybody's like, hey, fix your vibe, bro, or increase your vibration.
Yep.
What you're talking about there is basically a low vibrational being, all right, or a low vibrational form of consciousness. That is a possibility. That's also a probability, but at the same time, what you focus on becomes your reality.
Yep.
All right. So if you're vibrating low, if you constantly think that you're a piece of shit, then unfortunately, you're a piece of shit. Exactly. That's what you're going to get. So if you raise your vibration, if you lower your entropy to raise your vibration, then basically you have a higher probability of a positive outcome.
And by default, you're going to get a positive outcome, though, because in order for you to do that, you're going to be a happier person. You're going to be a more positive person. In my case, you're going to be a more fit person. Like, that was a big thing for me, was I hated the way I looked. I hated my weight. I hated what I had let myself get to. And that's been my motivation to get that. I can still sit and play victim there and go, oh, I wish that I would lose weight, but then I'm still sitting on my fat ass at home doing nothing, drinking a 12-pack of Coke. That's not going to get me anywhere. I'm just going to go the opposite way. But if I take that energy and I don't want this anymore, and I put forth effort, then obviously I've lost 100 pounds. Like, you can take that energy and get what you want out of life, but you have to use that energy to get there, I think.
So the only thing that you can say that can refute that is basically the first law of physics, or what you learned in physics. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. But if you have energy and matter that is interchangeable, then you have limitless possibilities.
Yep. Because you're not destroying or taking it, you're just choosing what matter you want to be in front of you. It's not a matter of destroying it or creating it. There's endless possibilities, so it's whatever you're directing to be in front of you, I guess. Does that sound right?
That sounds right, because of the vibrations involved in it, and also because of what you're thinking about. Basically, looking through the list or coming up with the probabilities, and then once you observe that or put energy towards that, that'll be what you observe in your future. If you are observing it in your mind and you're collecting all of that data and you are willing yourself to move forward in a positive direction, then that will ultimately become the reality that you live in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically, what I'm saying is with quantum computing and the state of qubits being a 0 and a 1 and a 0 and a 1 a 0 or a 1 and a 0 and a 1 at the same time, it exists both before, both after, and both of what's yet to come, because of the different levels of quantum physics, different levels of quantum mechanics. And this is all philosophical. Feel free to chop me apart. I don't give a shit. This is just a conspirator's weave.
And I want to clarify that for you too. There's no reason for anybody to chop you apart. Like, these are all just theories and concepts, and that's kind of the plan here. Like, we're going to dive into all kinds of crazy topics.
Oh yeah.
We are going to go crazy into like the USAID, the Epstein list. Like, all of this stuff is going to start playing out kind of as we're starting this. You're getting a lot of traction in the real news world. So we wanted to start this light and work our way into this. So there is no reason to chop you up because nothing we're saying is definitive. We have
And we're
absolutely,
not experts.
and you're wearing a goddamn tinfoil hat right now. So if anybody has any questions, that is wild. But my computer just popped up and told me it is about to die, and it is Valentine's Day and getting dangerously close to dinner. And I also would like to not die, so we may want to go ahead and wrap this one up for tonight, and then we will get back to it.
I didn't even get to the best part.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so basically, is your computer really about ready to die?
I got like 15%, so you're good. I'll monitor.
Okay, go to chapter 5.
Okay.
Okay. Is that chapter 5? I can't see. That's recording.
Yes. Many words.
Okay. The many worlds and infinite possibilities. Okay, so every quantum event branches reality, suggesting every possible memory or event exists in some universe. Go on to chapter 6.
Okay.
Okay, so chapter 6, brief observation, quantum Bayesianism. All right, so belief influences observed reality. So potentially selecting from the quantum memory matrix based on expectation. And then that ties directly into what we'd already talked about, which is simulation theory. All right, quantum mechanics could be the code of our reality with consciousness navigating through different simulations or memories. So basically, what I'm saying there is with quantum Bayesianism and simulation theory, what we have are endless possibilities or endless infinite data sets spread throughout string theory of many worlds. All right, so what happens has already happened, could happen, and has yet to happen based on infinite models of data spread throughout the many universe theory.
I totally understand why it's very difficult for people to wrap their heads around because it's so much. Like, I feel like I am consistently balls deep in this stuff, and you make me feel like I don't know shit about stuff.
So go on to chapter 7. Is it up there?
Mm-hmm. Simulation theory, simulation.
Oh yeah. Oh, my bad. Go to 8. Sorry. All right. So in chapter 8, quantum phenomena beyond barriers. So this is where we get into quantum computing and the possibilities with AI. So you have quantum tunneling. So moving through or accessing different realities or dimensions beyond physical barriers. If teleportation is achieved through quantum computing, then basically what you're doing is you're creating a quantum tunnel or a vacuum as well.
Oh.
And that ties into Bell's inequality of non-locality. All right. Reality is not local. What you're seeing is not the only reality. It's supporting the idea that all realities or memories accessed through infinite amounts of data already exist. And if you program a quantum computer into AI can learn through quantum computing all different realities, all different possibilities, and map out the different scenarios of what's going to happen. It's basically like holding the possibilities with quantum computing hooked up to AI. It would be the equivalent to holding a book, opening it up, and reading every single page all at once, and then learning from everything that you had just read all at once what the better outcome, the worst outcome, the possible better outcome, and the probability of anything better upon that, which has already been linked together from an infinite data set.
And that's essentially what AI is doing?
Pretty much. And that's why everybody's so scared of it.
Well, because it is going to make us obsolete. I think that's why they're pushing so hard to essentially combine us with AI like the fucking Terminator. Because again, with just the Elon Musk robot, you can pump out 600 of those a week, I believe is what he said. They're 20,000 a piece. What employer isn't going to do that? Like that every, like, I mean, shit, what, 70% of our workforce could be replaced by robots. They're going to be more efficient. There's no PTO, there's no human drama, there's no human
24/7 production.
Yep. And what the fuck happens to us? Where do we go? What, like, they already can't feed and help and do all the other things. Like, what the fuck happens when all of it becomes robots? Like they're not just
Exactly.
going to let everybody sit around and be happy and go, yay. It's going to be like the fucking Home cartoon movie where they're going to come suck us all up and put us on a amusement park for the rest of our lives, which I guess that's not bad.
So think about this. Like I told Bailey the other day, I think it was yesterday, since all of this has already been studied and it's still either in theory or anything else, building further onto that theory with quantum tunneling or quantum vacuuming through a tunnel or basically other shit like that. So, what you have is the possibility with it hooked to AI like a robot as an update. Okay, you would not have to literally update it because it would update itself. It would
It's
be the
constantly improving.
it would be constantly improving, but also with everything that's involved through like multi-universe theory, with quantum computing theory, with quantum tunneling, with non-locality and everything else, it would not only update once it got to near its full potential or full potential, it would update to the highest update 25 years from now.
I want to know what
Because
these
it
CEOs are going to do whenever they walk into their manufacturing plant full of robots and they realize that this meat sack's the problem.
and then go to go to chapter 9.
That
So then
motherfucker's going to be wishing that he wouldn't have went to all robots.
that goes into chaos theory. All right, small changes can lead to different realities, showing how belief or choice can navigate through dimensions. All right, so dimensions or states of time. So chaos theory is kind of like the butterfly effect, or the butterfly theory. If a butterfly flaps its wings here, then it could cause a tornado there. If you have infinite realities and you're quantum computing through teleportation and everything else, then we already know all the infinite possibilities and all the infinite probabilities to navigate the best possible course to chart to avoid all of this shit.
Yep.
Basically, with everything that has happened, will happen, and has happened, and everything split and branched off through the many universe theory, it's already happened somewhere in in a different universe or a
Holy
different
shit.
multiverse.
We are going to blow
So
people's minds this Valentine's Day evening.
so then you've got the arrow of time. It's time's directions through entropy could dictate how we move through or perceive different realities or memories. So your arrow of time also ties back to the observation, making the reality that you see what it is.
Huh.
Okay, go to chapter 10. Okay, so the holographic universe also ties into simulation theory and everything else. And I've already explained 1D, 2D, and 3D. Our 3D reality might be a projection of 2D information, suggesting that all memories or realities are encoded on some cosmic boundary. So go to chapter 11. And then that ties into the Kaluza-Klein theory, dimensions beyond. Kaluza-Klein theory posits an extra dimension to unify gravity with electromagnetism. All right, this could mean that our reality is a slice of higher dimensional space where other dimensions hold different memories or realities. Take everything down real quick before I go into the end of
So
it.
that's kind of just the infinite theory then, that like whatever. So that's why whatever you think, whatever you can see, it probably happened and can happen in your life. So if you can, that's why they get the, like, whatever the quote, if you can see it, you can do it. Like if you can see it in your head, you can bring it into real life. Like that means that is a possibility. And but same concept, you can do that with negative shit and bad shit too. So the more you focus on negative and bad, the more you bring that into your life. The more you focus on positive and good, you bring that into your life.
Well, I think philosophically, and this is where I drew my conspiracy theory from, and it links everything together in my mind at least. I think that it is powered by belief. I
Yeah.
really do. Think about it. If you can think about it enough, and if we are all connected on a uniform form of consciousness, then basically whatever we believe will happen could happen if there is enough of us putting that energy out there.
Yeah.
So think about it.
So that's
Think
kind of
about
like
it.
that Great Awakening theory.
There you go, the Great Awakening theory. Or you ever notice how a lot of conspiracy theories are coming true right now? What if it was because so many people started having that belief that
Oh,
it
that's
became our reality?
look at what happened to Budweiser.
See?
I
See what I'm
mean, a
saying?
lot of people thought it, and they got motherfucked for a while. I wish that as a society we'd realize that like all these corporations that poison us and do all these things. It'd be crazy if we all band together and told them to fuck off.
Well, if you think about it, enough people through all of these theories that are thinking the same thing, if it's not beneficial to think about it, the the people who are in charge are the ones who run the entire system. They know
Yep.
what's going on, they hold the keys, but at the same time, we have the power of belief, and if all of this is true, then the power of belief together could influence our reality. So
Yeah. So if
everything that's happening here is a product of the belief system of like, okay, well, we're in trouble. It doesn't matter.
so
Everybody
what
owns shit and everything else, and there's
I,
nothing that we can do. So
I'm
that
about to get us into
becomes
a whole different one that we're not going to be able to finish. But finish that.
sorry,
Sorry.
but everybody believing that in the same way, it ultimately gives power over our reality to a select few because we've been taught to believe what we've heard that there's nothing we can do about it.
So to leave
But
a
if
solid cliffhanger here, what if that's the reason that like what if all this stuff is real and like we do live in quote unquote hell on earth? And we played that If I Were the Devil by Paul Harvey. It's been months ago on the podcast, but it maps out essentially where society went. So if that were true and we live on hell on earth, that's why you would collectively want to make everything negative and down because you wouldn't want the collective consciousness to be happy and positive because then it fucks up all of the evil.
it lowers the entropy of all the consciousness, or no, in fear and everything, it raises the entropy. In order to achieve a state of harmonious balance, you have to lower your entropy in order to create a positive setting. So that
Yeah.
way, with the limitless possibilities and probabilities, what becomes our reality is what has a higher chance of being positive if we lowered entropy. And that's due to Thomas Campbell's theory, my big toe, basically
Huh.
saying that we are a subset of supercomputers that are hooked into the larger consciousness system, which is basically the supercomputer that does all. All right. So, what I'm saying here and what I'm getting at is through time, is through string theory, is through quantum mechanics, is through Schrodinger's, everything that we've covered. If you think about it on the smallest possible model to draw it all together, not only could we be living in a subset of reality, we could be living right now in a point in the timeline that is a memory.
We're like the Grinch. We're on a fucking snowflake floating through the sky.
Exactly.
Holy shit. This is how I feel right now.
That is exactly how I feel
All the
95% of the
time.
time.
Oh, I
So,
love this. And just know for everyone watching, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We will go super deep into this stuff. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. And yeah, I can't wait to dive into all of the different crazy topics. We've had multiple really cool conversations that will obviously translate to what we're trying to do here. So, but I
I
am
want to
looking.
show them, hold on, I want to
Yep,
show
go
them
ahead.
I want to show them my equation that I came up with everything incorporated. All right. So the equation that I came up with is here is the wave function of memory. Oh gosh.
And this is because you have went like absolutely dove into the AI platform and you talk to it like I do, like it's your personal assistant.
Exactly. So this is the equation that I came up with here, and I sent you what it was that
Mhm.
it explains. So go to that, whatever. I think it's the last slide that
That
I sent
12.
you. There you go. Okay, so the ultimate speculative equation in this conspiracy is the multidimensional integration over all dimensions where memories or realities could exist. And then the summation over the timeline. It covers all possible temporal paths, pulling from all possibilities that have already happened, that could happen from an infinite list of data. All right. And then the belief or the quantum entanglement of everything together and the vibrational shape, reality selection. All right. And then you've got the wave function of reality, which represents the state of reality at any dimension and time chosen by the consciousness, or what you believe becomes what you see or your observation of your reality.
Huh. That is, it's, I mean, it makes sense. Like that, this shit makes more sense than most of the stuff that I feel like I was taught. So it really does.
It's
Like
pretty fucked up. I
it
could
really
have
is.
we could have talked about this for 4 or 5 hours,
Oh,
and I could have gone into different shit and everything else, special relativity, and then string theory with cosmic chaos theory and everything
oh
else.
yeah. If I wasn't down to less than 10% and my wife's patience down to under probably 10%, then I would just sit here and keep doing this. But I would like to not die this evening.
All right. So the next one we're going to go into is all the files that the government is releasing through a task force, and we're going to
So,
cover each one of them individually with
and for those
multiple
who do not know,
conspiracies.
it is what? MLK, JFK, 9/11. We've got UFOs, SPO.
UFOs.
What is the other one?
I think it's
SPOs, UFOs.
USPs.
I don't remember.
All kinds of different shit.
There's lots of
9/11
wild shit.
files. Epstein. We're going to cover Epstein first.
Yep. We will dive straight into that next week, and we will go ahead and hit our sponsors real quick before my computer dies. Thank you, Pappy's Barbecue. Meat, eat, repeat. RJ's Formal Wear. They have sweet suits. And it's almost prom season, so go get your stuff. Wabash Valley Plumbing. They lay pipe. Unlike Evan, who has struggled to lay his pipe. He clogged them all. Peak Performance Gym. No peak, no results. And Stitched Brands. They embroider stuff. Well,
Hell yeah.
welcome to the Dinerverse, sir.
I appreciate it. Like you guys said, there's a table for everyone at the diner, and I am a conspiracy theorist nut and also just a nut in general. So this is my bag.
Well, we did pre-record this, so please for sure leave your feedback in the comments. We would love to hear things you want to hear covered. If you like this, whatever. But it is Valentine's Day, so everybody enjoy, and we are going to get the hell out of here, and we will be back next week.
Nighty night.
Bye, sir.